Okay, there we go. You guys don't have to stay muted, but I'm going to continue to read. Okay, so anyway, it says the things that help the most are the things that are difficult to do. There's a big difference, however, between something that's difficult and something that's impossible. While recovering from depression isn't quick or easy, you do have more control than you realize, even if your depression is severe and stubbornly persistent. The key is to start small and build from there. You may not have much energy, but drawing on all your reserves, you should have enough to take a walk around the block or pick up the phone to call a loved one, for example. Taking the first step is always the hardest, but going for a walk or getting up and dancing to your favorite music, for example, is something you can do right now. It can substantially boost your mood and energy for several hours. Even a little bit helps. Long enough to put in a second recovery step into action, such as preparing a mood-boosting meal or arranging to meet an old friend. By taking the following small but positive steps day by day, you soon lift the heavy fog of depression and find yourself happier, healthier, and more hopeful again. I'm a firm believer in that, is that when you feel something down, and I've always preached about that, is if you have a lot on your mind and you're really stressed out, change what you can, do something productive. And then that reward will help you. It's a win-win because you're using that negative energy in a positive way, and you could help yourself feel much better and put you in a better mood. So this goes on to have a couple tips of coping with depression, and I wanted to touch base on those. Does anybody want to chime in about anything I've said so far?
Nope. So far, so good.
Okay. Coping with depression.
Well, what I want to say is very important, and it has been scientifically proven that if you're depressed and you do something enjoyable, say like dancing, it does create a chemical reaction within the body that to feel good stuff. And that's what you want. Even a negative thought. If you feed your mind with negative thoughts, that's going to create a chemical reaction. And the body's going to say, oh, gee, maybe I'm meant to feel depressed. But if you feed yourself positive thoughts, it may feel weird at first, but you're going to start feeding your brain good stuff. It's going to create good chemicals, which is what you want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's the big thing is when, like, what's that phrase? Misery loves company. Because whatever mood you're in, when you're around that kind of company, you pick up that mood. It's the vibe that's in the air. If you're down and you don't do something to change your perspective, you're going to stay down. You know, if you go, let me look at the bright side of things, or look at what I like and just as an example, as a brain injury survivor, change your perspective from what I can't do to what I can do and what I have done. And, you know, it's really a mindset that you need to switch around and look at the benefits of things, not the negativity. You don't look back. You can never move forward by looking backwards, you know? So that's a big thing. Go ahead, Tina, what's up?
I was going to say that, you know, depression, what I'm about to say, some people might disagree with, but depression the initial stage of depression isn't a bad thing. We experience a state of being depressed when something happens and we've been disappointed, or an expectation that we have wasn't met. And it's important to acknowledge that sadness or that disappointment, or it's important to acknowledge that part, because if we don't and we move forward, then in my case, I tried moving forward in the beginning without acknowledging the losses I had. And because of it, I got stuck. And when I got stuck, I didn't know how to move forward.
Well, that's absolutely true. I totally agree with that, Tina, because you could take something that's disappointing and you say, okay, how can I fix it? You can address it to make it better and not ignore it because it'll come back to bite you later.
Right. And so I guess what I was saying about depression is, people experience like the tip of it and then run from it as fast as possible, rather than being okay with experiencing emotion. And I think we have to feel our emotions, but then we have to take those 5 or 10 or 15 minutes or however long it takes to experience it, and then get up and move forward.
Right. Yeah. That's a little,
That's right.
Yeah. And you could address it when you have a more positive frame of mind. You can go back and address whatever it was that was holding you back or getting you down. But it's your mindset that's got to be comfortable and relaxed in order to think it out properly, instead of letting it overwhelm you and taking it, overboard, per se. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go back. I'm going to start reading again, because we don't have that much time. I got a lot of stuff here. All right. Coping with depression. Tip number 1. Reach out and stay connected. This is a big thing, because a lot of people get closed off and reserved, and that's not healthy for anybody. And a lot of people don't understand that. Getting support plays an essential role in overcoming depression. On your own, it can be difficult to maintain a healthy perspective and sustain the effort required to beat depression. At the same time, the very nature of depression makes it difficult to reach out for help. When you're depressed, the tendency is to withdraw and isolate, so that connecting to even close family members and friends can be tough. You may feel too exhausted to talk, ashamed at your situation, or guilty for neglecting certain relationships. But this is just the depression talking. Staying connected to people and taking part in social activities will make the world of difference in your mood and your outlook. Reaching out is not a sign of weakness, and it won't mean you're a burden to others. Your loved ones care about you and want to help. And if you don't feel that you have anyone to turn to, it's never too late to build new friendships and improve the support network you have. We, fortunately enough, do have that. So we don't have a place where we don't know where we can go. That's what I pride myself on. How to reach out for depression support. Look for support from people who make you feel safe and are cared for. The person you doesn't have to be able to fix you. They just need to be a good listener. Someone who will listen attentively and compassionately without being distracted or by judging you. Make FaceTime a priority. Phone calls, social media, and texting are always great ways to keep in touch, but they don't replace good old-fashioned, in-person, face-to-face quality time. The simple act of talking to someone face-to-face about how you feel can play a big role in relieving depression and keeping it that way. And that's a big, major reason people don't understand why I'm so adamant about, join our Zoom calls, because we hear tone of voice, we see gestures, we know emotion, and you're actually seeing the person you're talking to. So it's a big difference than, oh, I can text this or text that. Nobody understands the tone or what's being said properly. Another thing is, try to keep up with social activities, even if you don't feel like it. Because even when you're grumpy, if you're around a group of positive people, it will eventually pick you up.
Absolutely.
Often when you're depressed, it feels more comfortable to retreat into your shell, but being around other people will make you feel less depressed. Another key point here, it says, find ways to support others. And this is, I was talking to Tina today about that on the earlier call. It's nice to receive support, but research shows that get even a bigger mood boost from providing support for yourself. So find ways, big and small, to help other people and volunteer. Being a listening ear for a friend or do something nice for somebody. Those of us that have been on these calls for years know that nobody understands brain injury like a survivor does. Not medical books, not doctors, not physicians, not therapists. Nobody understands like survivors do. And it's a big, big thing for all of us to be
That's
able
a
to work
fact.
to each other.
That's a
What was
fact.
that?
That is an absolute fact.
Yeah. Because it's the struggles. It's the struggles that we go through and the deficits that are there. And we know that when you need somebody to vent to, it's not somebody who has no clue what you're talking about because they never experienced it before. Another little trick for helping depression, and we know a lot of us know this already, care for a pet. While nothing could replace the human connections, pets can bring you joy and companionship into your life and help you feel less isolated. Caring for a pet can also get you outside of yourself and give you a sense of being needed, both powerful antidotes for depression. They don't talk back, and all they want is love. So all you have to do is give it to them, and the reward is always, always, always there. Unless they pee on your furniture, but that's another thing. Yeah. So, and again, this is bringing the last key point that's talking about here is well, this topic, I don't want to get off subject because this topic is about reaching out and staying connected. And the last tip here is join a support group for depression. Being with others dealing with depression can go a long way in reducing your sense of isolation. You can also encourage each other, give and receive advice on how to cope, and share your experiences. This is exactly what we do in the brain injury community. So we're all well aware of that. And that's why we're all here right now. It says here, 10 tips for staying connected. Talk to one person about your feelings. Number 2, help someone else by volunteering. 3, have lunch or coffee with a friend. That's always awesome. It's so simple. Ask a loved one to check in with you regularly. Accompany someone to the movies, a concert, or a small get-together. Number 6, call or email an old friend. Number 7, go for a walk with a workout buddy. Companionship is huge. That's great. Walking the dog is phenomenal with that. Number 8, schedule a weekly dinner date with somebody, whether it's a friend, a loved one, a relationship, anything. Number 9, meet new people by taking a class or joining a club, which we did. That's why we're here. And number 10, confide in a clergy member, teacher, or a sports coach. That's good because they're always into positive motivation, which is very, very true. Always. I don't get into religion that much because all of them have a different version of the same thing, but it's always about a positive reinforcement to move forward. That was tip number 1. Anybody would like to clarify or say anything about that?
No, you've made me feel like I should be calling myself depressed because I don't do any of these things. I like being secluded.
It's honest to God, it's not healthy. It really isn't. I'm not bad mouthing you, but I know a number of people that do it. Sometimes seclusion is good for yourself because you can get your thoughts together, but when it's over a long period of time, that's not healthy because you end up bottling a lot of stuff up, and negative thoughts seem to accumulate.
Well, I
So-
stay secluded, but with my family. I mean, because all the
but-
things that you're saying, go out and do. I mean, I've done and I've ran and I've gone, and I don't know. Some days I just like just kicking back and not moving. But I'm
No,
not depressed.
See, I
And
know,
I do it
no.
often.
That's called relaxation. That's a different story.
So
No, but I do it often.
I
Um,
introvert in order to extrovert.
Yes.
I would have said I was an extrovert, but I have found that in order to really be good at giving out, like today I've spent a great deal of time being in with other people all day. And it will probably be, well, I would say it would be another week or two before I will do this again, but that's not true. Tomorrow I'll be doing another call with someone in Germany. And then on Saturday there's another call. And then Tuesday there's another call. I'm like, oh wait, I'm pretty social even though I'm not leaving the house. But I need a great deal of quiet time. And I didn't realize that for sure until we moved into this quarantine state. And I'm going, I love it. And it took 4 weeks into the quarantine for me to feel the effects of it. But my neighbors who are very extroverted started going nuts the first week. And now they're finally settling down. And I'm going, oh, and you can feel the collective hum. We were out on a walk on the weekend, and as we were actually, it was a walk and then a bike ride. And I told my husband, I said, I don't feel like I have to leave. Where we live, there's always a collective busy hum that you can just feel permeating your body. And we leave here on a regular basis to go north so I can get away from it all. And when we come back, you can feel it closing back in on you. And I said to Steve, I said, I feel like for the first time in forever, it's quiet on the area that we're at. And I don't feel the depression.
That's awesome. And what you were saying before, Heather, I wanted to touch base on that, is isolation is what you like, but you're isolating with your family. So it's still a group setting. It's not like I'm talking about. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, sometimes, but when I'm up where I work, I'm up there alone. Like this winter because the kids were in school and I don't mind it, but Tina just touched on something. And I noticed that earlier when you were talking. I mean, of course, we all have a quiet space. You know, we have the kids, but I think I like isolation because if I get around too much noise, it overstimulates me. And then I end up getting frustrated and angry because all my thoughts start to just run together. So I don't know. I don't think it's depression because I like to be alone. I like it because my head is clear versus getting out sometimes and just getting overstimulated and getting upset over nothing really, just too much background noise or whatever it may be.
Right.
You know, and maybe over the years, I mean, it's been 31 years for me, so maybe over the years I've gotten used to it because in these 31 years too, I've also gone out to concerts and traveled and I've done everything I've wanted to do. So it doesn't feel like depression because I like to be alone and, you know, and then, but I like being alone with my family. And then John and I go to camp, which is nothing up there. I mean, we don't even have electricity. He's got it all wired up, generators and everything. And we're the only two there in all these years. I think like the last 10 years, we've only had one person come knock on the camp door. And we both like it, you know. I think I've just grown to like quiet.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not talking, depression isn't about seclusion. I mean, having alone time, there's nothing about that is about depression. And like I said,
I have weeks at a time though.
But having time, even that's what I was trying to say with Tina before, is having time. If you're feeling depressed, having time alone is not a big deal. That's healthy for you. That's fine. I'm talking about depression that goes on for days where you lock yourself in a room and you don't want to have any association with other people. That's where it's gone to an extreme. That's when it's gone overboard. and it's not normal. It's really not healthy for you.
Michael, I have a question. Michael.
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead.
So listening to Heather, one of the things I wrote a little note over in the chat room. I love the fact that one of the tips was listening compassionately can be so helpful. I think one of the biggest challenges that might be I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but something that causes people to move into that state of depression is when they feel like they can't make an inroad. Like they know they should be with people, they want to be with people, but for whatever reason, and a lot of times it's that overwhelm that comes from too much input being received, facial impressions, tone of voice, word choice, body language, and people who you're interacting with not realizing that you're trying to read all of that while listening to truly understand what they're saying. And the inability to communicate effectively back to someone else, that you can't process that and it sends you into a state of overwhelm, can essentially move you into that state of depression, which then creates that cycle of never really feeling like you can move out of it, because the very thing you need is the very thing that's injuring you. So
Right.
how would you navigate something like that?
A way to navigate something like that is by limiting the amount of people you're talking to when you're in a mood. You're not going to go to a party, you know what I'm saying? But if you do a one-on-one, you go out with a friend that you trust and you're comfortable with, that'll be rewarding to you.
Okay.
That's when you're with somebody that'll listen.
See, I can go out.
Go ahead. Heather, go ahead.
See, I can go out to a party and stuff. I can't stand noise behind my head. Well, sorry. I didn't hear you talking, Tina.
No, I wasn't talking. You are.
Oh, well, it was echoing back. I thought someone was. I can go out to a party or something like that, but I have to have my mind set on that's what I'm going to do, and I'm not focusing on anything else. You know, so it's not that I withdraw totally. I can't have anything else on my mind, and I know that that's a setting I'm going to be in. So then the noise, the music, whatever, people talking doesn't bother me. But if I've got things going on in my brain, which I usually do 24/7, I can't put myself in that setting. And I think that's like my light being alone, because I work, and to work, like Michael was trying to get me back on for a long time, and I kept saying I have to just remain totally focused with what I was doing, you know. So it wasn't that I was avoiding anyone on purpose, but anything else other than what I was doing, because there was so much legal and technical and everything involved, it would have just distracted me. And if I get distracted, then I would have gotten depressed, because I wouldn't be able to keep up with what I needed to do. It's really important for me to be able to keep up with what I need to do.
Well,
So I was going to say, so me staying in to myself, I don't feel like I'm depressed. I'm not saying I don't have some days that I feel depressed and then eventually I shake it off, but I stay home a lot. But I don't feel depressed because of that, or I don't feel like I am depressed.
We keep talking about the same thing, and I think we're getting off track. Is being alone and having some time to yourself isn't about depression. That's it's like it's really taking it the wrong way. But you did touch base on something that is the next tip. Tip number 2 is doing things that make you feel good. In order to overcome depression, you have to do things to relax and energize you. This includes following a healthy lifestyle, learning how to manage stress, setting limits on what you're able to do, and scheduling fun activities into your day. Like, you always find time to have a break and do something that's going to make you laugh or smile, you know, whatever it is. I mean, luckily we have phones. You could take a break and like watch something stupid on YouTube and make you laugh, you know, okay. It just gives you some peace of mind a little bit. Do things you enjoy or used to enjoy. While you can't force yourself to have fun or experience pleasure, you can push yourself to do things even when you don't feel like it. You might be surprised on how much better you'll feel once you're out of the world, when you're out in the world. Even if your depression doesn't lift immediately, you'll gradually feel more upbeat and energetic as you make time for fun activities. Pick up a former hobby or a sport you used to like. Express yourself creatively through music, art, or writing. Go out with friends. Take a day trip to a museum, the mountains, or a ballpark. In this little thing right here, this clip, what it is means like find a distraction. No matter what your mood in, is you feel overwhelmed or something's taking you over, you find a temporary distraction and just relax your brain a little bit and refocus when you'll come back to it later.
Or just do anything to get your mind off it and put your whole self into it.
Yep.
Like clean. I'll clean toilet bowls. I'll put my whole self into it. I forget about what's eating me. And it makes me happy.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't like cleaning toilet bowls, but you do a good job. That makes you happy.
You do whatever it is, right.
A simple thing like that.
Yeah. Another thing in this tip here is supporting your health. This is big, and anybody that's a brain injury survivor should know this and live by this. Aim for at least 8 hours of sleep. Depression typically involves sleep problems. Whether you're sleeping too little or too much, your mood suffers. Get a better sleep schedule by learning healthy tips and sleeping habits. Another support for your health is keeping your stress in check. Not only does stress prolong and worsen depression, but it also could trigger it. Figure out all the things in your life that stress you out, such as work overload, money problems, and unsupportive relationships, and find ways to relieve the pressure and regain control of your life. The last thing here about your health is practice relaxation techniques, and I'm adamant about this one. A daily relaxation practice can help relieve symptoms of depression, reduce stress, and boost feelings of joy and well-being. Try yoga, deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, or meditation. And I can give hints and help out with any of those things. Well, not really so much the yoga thing, but there is yoga instructors that are even on YouTube that you can use, and you can do that anywhere you're comfortable doing it, regardless to your physical abilities, because I've seen people in retirement communities, old folks that can't even function or move around very much, and they've done yoga. So there's no excuses why anybody can't do it. If you need assistance, grab a chair. This is something I really, really enjoyed reading, is develop a wellness toolbox to deal with depression. Come up with a list of things that you could do for a quick mood boost. I'm in trouble with words, yeah. The more tools for coping with depression you have, the better. Try and implement a few of these ideas each day, even if you're feeling good, because if you do something that feels good when you're in a good mood, it just boosts the better mood. It's a win-win. Here's examples. Spend time in nature. List what you like about yourself, which is great. Read a good book. Watch a funny movie or TV show. Take a long hot bath. And take care of a few small tasks, which is sort of like what Susan was talking about before. You just find a task that needs to get done, get your mind off things, and helps you refocus. Now, here's more. Again, we said play with a pet. Number 8 says talk to friends or family face to face. Number 9, I love, is listen to music. Music will always make you feel better, always. It's always such a great distraction, but it also enhances a good mood. And do something spontaneous. That is always fun. Something you haven't done before or something just spur of the moment is always fun. That brings us to tip number 3. Excuse me, get moving. When you're depressed, just getting out of bed can seem like a daunting task, let alone working out. But exercise is a powerful depression fighter, which is what Susan was talking about before, about the chemistry in your body. And one of the most important tools in your recovery arsenal. Research shows that regular exercise can be as effective as medication for relieving depression symptoms. It also prevents relapse once you're well. To get the most benefit, aim for at least 30 minutes of exercise a day. It doesn't have to be all at once, and it's okay to start small. A 10-minute walk can improve your mood for 2 hours. Exercise is something you could do right now to boost your mood. Your fatigue will improve if you stick with it. Starting to exercise can be difficult when you're depressed and feeling exhausted, but research shows that your energy levels will improve if you keep with it. Exercise will help you feel energized and less fatigued, not more fatigued. Finding exercise that are continuous and rhythmic. The most benefits for depression come from rhythmic exercise such as walking, weight training, swimming, martial arts, or dancing, where you move both your arms and your legs, because it just increases the circulation and the body chemistry. It says here, add a mindfulness element, especially if your depression is rooted in unresolved trauma or fed by obsessive negative thoughts. Focus on how your body feels as you move, such as the sensation of your feet hitting the ground, or the feeling of the wind on your skin, or the rhythm of your breathing. And that goes back to, like, meditation is phenomenal because it's where your concentration lies, the things that are stressing you out. But you concentrate on your breathing and how your chest rises and relaxes and things like that. And that helps relax the mood of your entire body. Pair up with an exercise partner. Nothing's better than that. Not only does working out with others enable you to spend time socializing, it can also help keep you motivated. Try joining a running club, taking a water aerobics or a dance class, seeking out a tennis partner, or enrolling in a soccer or volleyball league, even somebody to walk with. That's beneficial for anybody that you do it with. And that brings us to the next one, is taking a dog for a walk. If you don't own a dog, you can volunteer to walk homeless dogs for an animal shelter or rescue group. You'll not only be helping others, but you also help socialize and exercise the dogs, making them more adoptable. Any questions about that one? About doing things that make you feel good. I think that we already discussed that, and I think it's pretty understandable. But
What do you do when you think you have something you want to do that will make you feel good, but there has to be buy-in from your family members in order to make that happen?
Can you give an example?
Sure. Having an additional pet.
Sounds like someone wants an additional pet.
Wow. You could foster for an animal rescue.
I did not prime this. I want you to know I did not prime that answer.
I see your son, yeah.
And then once they fall in love with the animal, you can adopt the animal.
Yep.
Actually, I read somewhere today that said the best way to do a foster situation was to make sure you adopted an animal or you fostered an animal that was pretty incompatible for your lifestyle. And so I feel like we should foster pregnant mama cats or newborn kittens. It is one
Those
definite
are
way
hard,
to not
though.
keep them.
You're going crazy. I don't know if we should do that.
We actually used to do it, but
Wait, really?
I think that right now may not be the best of times because I don't know when the animals would leave.
So actually, animals are being adopted pretty quickly from foster locations. I volunteer over at Lucky Dog Animal Rescue, and they've just been like people are so lonely right now. They're just adopting away.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, maybe we'll reach.
Well, now that they're home a lot, yeah, it's perfect.
Well, I still have to get buy-in from my family.
Okay.
That was my question. How you get buy-in from your family, even if it's a foster situation? This is one of our fur babies.
Aw.
You gotta convince them. That's it. It's like a sales pitch. It all depends on how you pitch it,
Well, maybe you'll have to develop one.
how it's needed, how you must have this for your own well-being. You need to find a purpose.
We see what you're doing.
I will get you this toy if you let me have my puppy.
What's happening?
Right.
Oh,
That's bribery. Yeah.
Oh, I
It
guess
works,
all
too.
about power. Hi, I have an announcement. All about power went out. So I don't know how long my computer will stay powered up.
Mm-hmm.
I told you we were getting heavy snow here.
Yeah.
The kids just came running upstairs and they said it was scary down there. So I'm
yeah.
sorry. Mom asleep.
I could hear it breaking up really bad over there.
I don't think that's a lot.
They're
The
using the hot
battery though.
spot too.
Brittany, where are you from?
From New Jersey. I'm currently in Virginia.
Okay. How did you find out about the Pennsylvania Brain Injury Support Group?
I was in New Jersey.
got
We
this.
met. We know each other from Jersey.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Heather, how did you meet Michael?
I met through my friend Ariel, who was connected with Michael. And I was actually at a party. And I knew that Ariel was in a bad motorcycle accident years ago. She's much younger than I am. And I watched her at the party. You know, she interacts with people, but I also watched her a lot of times by herself, taking everything in. And I know Ariel anyways. So when I got home that night, I sent Ariel a text and I told her, I said, you know, you're not alone. She says, what do you mean? Traumatic brain injury. But, because so I told her, I said, well, you know, I could tell that she was trying to take everything in and cope with it. So we had a long conversation and she was like, oh, really? And then I started looking at her Facebook page and I saw Michael and I kind of jumped on here and there periodically when I'm not being a workaholic and then going into seclusion to get away from it.
Yeah.
Power outages, nearly 90,000 Mainers, it just came up. But that's how, that's how I met though. I mean, I knew her, but.
Thank you.
I have.
Yeah, Heather, your connection is really bad.
I know. Because I used to have a group when I went to base. And I needed something on occasion to help stable.
Heather, do you think if you signed out and came back in, we might be able to hear you better?
Yeah, your
Oh.
connection is really bad. You can't even make out what you're saying.
Give me the phone number. I'll call in.
Oh, okay. I'll give it to you on Facebook right now.
Oh. Well, hold.
I've still got a couple more things I want to go over, so I don't want to get off the topic too much. But
Can you give me the?
I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay.
All right. I just got to dig it up.
I might have it. What's her location?
Maine.
She's in Maine. The New York number will work because she uses her cell phone.
Okay, are you ready for it?
Sure. Yes.
646 876 9923.
We'll try this.
Okay. Now
And
it
then
may
there's
ask
gonna
me
be
for a meeting
a-
ID number.
Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
The
Yeah.
meeting
What's
ID
my
number is
meeting ID?
844
You have not entered any numbers. Please re-enter your meeting ID followed by
344?
No,
Or is that-
844.
you entered 844. This meeting
One.
ID does not exist. Please
Oh.
re-enter your meeting.
You need to write it down.
There's 9 numbers.
Heather, yeah, Heather, you need to write it down because you got to type it quick.
Well, I was, but Nevaeh
Okay.
told me I was writing the wrong one.
Okay, it's 844.
I have nothing to write with.
Good tick.
Can you try dialing it?
Wait a minute.
Enter your meeting ID.
844
156
156
325.
Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue. After the tone, please record your name. When you have finished recording, press pound.
Heather.
You are in the meeting now. There are 6 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded. You have been
Okay, there we go.
notified to host. You cannot listen or talk until the host releases the hold.
Michael, that's you.
I know that's me. I'm doing it already. We also have somebody else on hold.
Who's the other person?
I'm not sure. It's a 207. All right.
Hello, 207. How are you doing today?
Was that me?
You need to hang up on your computer, Heather. You need to disconnect you on your laptop or whatever.
Well, I'm going to listen to you guys. I'm going to listen to you guys. I know. I'm just going to listen then.
Why is that?
Because I like to see everyone.
Oh, okay.
I'm very visual.
But we can't, yeah, all right.
Her
That's fine.
connection's better.
That's really weird. Okay. All right. Can I continue with reading?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, coffee helps me with depression. Just saying.
What's that?
Coffee helps me with depression. It's the only way I get out of bed and do stuff.
I agree with
To be
that
honest,
one.
right there, like, if I don't have my coffee, I'm not doing stuff.
Well, that brings us to tip number 4, which is bringing up eating healthy.
Oh, yeah, them B vitamins, they help.
Tip number 4 is eat a healthy, depression-fighting diet. What you
No
eat has
carbs.
what
Okay,
you eat
so-
has all right. What you eat has a direct impact on the way you feel. Reduce your intake of foods that can adversely affect your brain and mood, such as caffeine, alcohol, trans fat, and foods with high levels of chemical preservatives or hormones, such as certain meats.
Wait, did you just tell me to quit my caffeine?
Cut down. I'm a culprit. I can't say nothing because I drink a lot of coffee too.
Me too.
Yeah. All right, so it continues to say here, don't skip meals. Going too long between meals can make you feel irritable and tired, so aim to eat something at least every 3 to 4 hours. Even if it's a little bit often, that also increases your metabolism, which is good with weight loss. The more you eat in little increments more often. Minimize sugar and refined carbs. You may crave sugary snacks, baked goods, or comfort foods such as pasta or French fries, but these feel-good foods quickly lead to a crash in mood and energy. Aim to cut out as much of these foods as possible. Like me, if you guys are watching me, I'm eating peanuts. Well, you can't see me right now.
So, Michael, what group are you, like, what's your source right now?
What's my what?
What's your source right now?
My source of what? Food and
Like,
things like that.
where do you get your information from?
This one, I gotta look at the screens now. Hold on.
So when it comes to eating healthy, for anyone who doesn't know me, I used to work in a psych hospital. And I also used to work for the YMCA, which means that I just know a lot about like fitness and food type
Yeah.
stuff, food information, like how to work out different parts of your body, but also nutrition. And one of the things that they tell us in when it comes to food, I can't even pull up the page right now. Okay. One of the things that they tell us is don't cut out your carbs. Carbs, like bread and pasta, that is a feel-good food, but your brain does need sugar to function. So it does need these carbs to function.
Well, I didn't say eliminate carbs. I said cutting them back because
So
having carbohydrates is actually, it is good for your body, but the amount that you eat, like the proportions of it, is what'll slow you down.
okay, so but when it comes to eating carbs, if you want to not be depressed after you eat said carbs, make sure to add a protein and a vegetable with it.
Right.
So it's perfectly fine to eat the same amount of carbs that you normally eat, but but you have to add in meat and vegetables or fruit to counteract the depression phase afterwards.
Right. Yep.
Since this pandemic, I've just been eating everything. I don't care. I need to gain some weight, so I just shovel it in every day, 24/7.
Well, there's two things that I still didn't go over yet about the food nutritional stuff. I don't know who just signed off, but deficiencies in B vitamins such as folic acid and B12 can trigger depression. To get more B complex vitamin supplements or eat more citrus fruit, leafy greens, beans, chicken, and eggs. Again, that's the other, instead of processed foods, you can eat more of the, vitamins and things like that through, like Brittany was talking about, fruits, vegetables, and meats that are pure. Another one here is boost your mood with foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids play an essential role in stabilizing mood. The best sources are fatty fish, such as salmon, herring, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, tuna, and some cold water fish oil supplements. And the last, I think this is the last one, is number 5. Oh no, there is more. Number 5 is getting a daily dose of sunlight. It helps in your mood. Sunlight can help with serotonin levels and improve your mood. Whenever possible, get outside during daylight hours and expose yourself to the sun for at least 15 minutes a day. Remove sunglasses, but never stare directly at the sun, and use sunscreen as needed. Taking a walk on your lunch break, having your coffee outside, enjoy an alfresco meal, or spend some time gardening. Double up on the benefits of sunlight by exercising outside. Try hiking or walking in a local park, or playing golf or tennis with a friend. Increase the amount of natural light in your home and workplace by opening blinds and drapes and sitting near windows. If you live somewhere with little winter sunshine, try using a light therapy box. Last but not least, about the healthy eating, it says dealing with the winter blues. For some people, the reduced daylight hours of winter lead to a form of depression known as seasonal affective disorder, SAD. SAD can make you feel like a completely different person when you're in the summer. Hopeless, sad, tense, or stressed with no interest in friends or activities you normally love. No matter how hopeless you feel, though, there are plenty of things you can keep your mood stable throughout the year. And I like that too, because the more you get outside, it's just a change of scenario. And I think it's just healthy for you. It's cold outside. To bundle up and take a walk is beneficial for you with the circulation of the body chemistry. Number 6 is a big one. I think that we're all going to touch base on. I want to see who else is on the call still. Tina, Brittany, Heather. Oh, okay. We must have lost Henry. Okay.
We also may have lost Heather's cell phone.
No, Heather's still on.
No,
I
it's the home
stayed
phone.
on.
She called in twice, didn't she?
Oh, yeah, because she was happier with seeing us. That's why she said that.
I like to see your faces.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how I got unmuted.
Tip number 6. This is a big one. Challenge negative thinking. Do you ever feel like you're powerless or weak? That bad thing happens and there's not much you can do about it. That your situation is hopeless. Depression puts a negative spin on everything, including the way you see yourself and your expectations for the future. When these types of thoughts overwhelm you, it's important to remember that this is a symptom of your depression, and these irrational, pessimistic attitudes, known as cognitive distortions, aren't realistic. When you really examine them, and they don't hold up. Excuse me. But even so, it can be tough to give up. You can't break out of this pessimistic mind frame by telling yourself you just think positive. Often, it's a part of lifelong pattern of thinking that becomes so automatic, you're not even completely aware of it. Rather, the trick is to identify the type of negative thoughts you are fueling your depression and replace them with more balanced way of thinking. And then it has a list here. Negative, unrealistic ways of thinking that fuel depression. And this is in bold print. It says all or nothing thinking, looking at things in black or white categories with no middle ground. If everything's not perfect, I'm a total failure. Another one is overgeneralization, generalizing from a single negative experience, expecting it to hold true forever. I had a bad date, I'll never find anyone. It's the mindset. Another mindset, the mental filter, ignoring positive events and focusing on the negative, noticing the one thing that went wrong, rather than all the things that went right. I got the last question on the test wrong and I'm an idiot. Another bad mindset is diminishing the positive, coming up with the reasons why positive events don't count. And it says here in parentheses, she said she had a good time out on our date, but I think that she was just being nice. This one here is huge, and a lot of people do this, and it's jumping to conclusions. Making negative interpretations without actual evidence. You act like the mind reader He must think I'm pathetic or a fortune teller. I'll be stuck in this dead-end job forever. Jumping to conclusions when you're already in a bad mood it's just like fueling a fire. Emotional reasoning, believing that the way you feel reflects reality. And it says here in quotes, I feel like such a loser, everyone must be laughing at me. And it says shoulds and should nots, holding yourself to a strict list of what you should and should not do, and beating yourself up if you don't live up to your own rules. I never should have interviewed for that job. I'm an idiot for thinking I could have gotten it. Bad. Labeling, classifying yourself based on mistakes and perceived shortcomings. I'm a failure, I'm an idiot, I'm a loser. Put your thoughts, and this is cute. It says, put your thoughts on a witness stand. Once you identify the destructive thought patterns that contribute to your depression, you can start to challenge them with questions such as, what is the evidence that is brought that this thought is true or not true? What would I tell a friend who had the same thought? Is there another way of looking at a situation or an alternate explanation? And asking yourself, how might I look at the situation if I didn't have depression? As you cross-examine your negative thoughts, you may be surprised on how quickly they crumble. In the process, you'll develop a more balanced perspective and help to relieve your depression. I always like the fact of like looking at facts rather than perspectives, and look at like the real deal, like proof, like evidence to show the things that you might claim is this way or that way. That's just based on a mindset because of whatever, you feel overwhelmed or life is falling apart or whatever. And this brings me to the last thing here. And this is a big one. And I'm sure a number of us can relate to this, is when to get professional help for depression. If you've taken the self-help steps and made positive lifestyle changes and still find your depression getting worse, seek professional help. Needing additional help doesn't mean you're weak. Sometimes the negative thinking and depression can make you feel like you're a lost cause, but depression can be treated if you feel better. And I'm adamant about that too, is that because if you feel down about yourself and you actually go for help, that's making you a stronger person because you're getting off your ass and doing something about it. You're not holding yourself back. When you don't do anything, you can never move forward. It says here, don't forget about these self-help tips though. Even if you're receiving professional help, these tips can be a start of your own treatment plans, speeding your recovery and preventing depression from returning. And if any of you guys need or want to see a copy of this is in a PDF file, so I could email it or send it to you guys. So let me know. But is there anything else you guys like to go over or talk about with what I had read or comments about it or anything like that? Now I'm look at you guys. I'm looking at Brittany and Tina's what?
We're eating.
I would like to go back to the challenge negative thinking. That might be another meeting time, another meeting thought process or separate from tonight, but I found myself struggling yesterday after several days of difficulty with a particular issue. I'm finally just throwing my hands up in the air going, I give up, and actually calling myself an idiot and stupid because I couldn't make a breakthrough. And I had my family looking at me going, no, you're not. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Something's got to give. And obviously I'm not making it. And, the definition of insanity is really doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. And I'm not making any difference here. So it was a bad moment, but I also didn't know how to reframe it. And that tends to happen. I wouldn't say that happens all the time. And for me, it's not a depressive thing. It's just one of those stuck moments that I don't have a more balanced way, as you put it, a more balanced way of looking at it.
Right. A big thing that I think helps out. That's cute.
She's
Tina.
not an idiot. She's a lover, and she loves me, and I know she homeschools me, and she's a very good lover, and I thank her for that.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. What I think that's beneficial is always having a moment to yourself to do a self-reflection. When you get in a crappy mood, for a lack of better words, look at yourself and you say, I got to get out of this crap. I really why am I feeling this way? And what can I do to fix it? Because something's got to change. Like you said before.
But that's the point, is I know that, I can say that, but because the situation never seems to resolve itself, it just lessens, and then it escalates again, and then it de-escalates, and then it escalates again. And I'm like, you know, the fact that we're sitting here having this conversation makes me go, I know I can find some answers. I know there's a way forward. And like I said, it's not, for me, it's not so much about depression. It's just one of, this is probably my greatest
circumstance.
Right.
If there's one specific circumstance that keeps triggering that because nothing changes,
yes,
that takes some one-on-one type of therapy where you got to reassess it and maybe get an outsider's perspective on how it can be addressed.
So that was part of what caused it to escalate as badly as it did, was I had set up something with someone else to resolve it. And because of the coronavirus, that particular resource for resolving it got shut down. And I don't know when that's going to be resolved. But I do have to say that today, a different door opened, and that connection, I think, may help moving forward so that I don't get quite stuck, because it really has to do with teaching and learning. So,
right. Okay. Well, you know, I mean, there is, you have to be patient. That's another thing. That's what comes with all of this, is sometimes you just have to be patient, that things will find a way of falling into place.
Right.
Because Tina, I'm not going to go into details because of privacy reasons, but you know what I'm talking about, is there's things where when there's a point where sometimes you need an outsider's opinion that's not emotionally involved in things. And I came into play with this, and I'm addressing it now. You know what I'm working on.
Yeah.
And getting that third party's, especially a professional perspective, it makes a huge difference in how things are looked at and how things can be tackled. But they've got to be. You need somebody that knows how to break it down.
Right.
You know, and look at it from like the little things that made it such a big issue.
Right.
And that's the way you gotta, it's one step at a time, little things.
Well,
So
I'll
I'm
probably reach out to you a smaller one-on-one that will just kind of maybe move me in a better direction. Not because I think that this thing that really reared its head is significant in terms of it won't take much for other areas where I get stuck to wind up being in that place, because you said, you know, it's important to have a way to think so that every time you wind up in that place, you're thinking in a more positive way. And I don't have that. That was one of those things that made, like I said earlier today, the journey forward was harder, because when I broke, I didn't have these tools in my toolbox. I had an all black or white mindset. I had an it's all right or it's all wrong. I didn't have any other vocabulary. And when people addressed it with me, I had no clue what they were talking about, because my mindset had been ingrained since I was a child. Now I kind of get it, but now it's finding a different way to reword those things that I'm stuck with. Anyway.
Yeah. Instead of walking into what you were in a position where you kept walking into a wall, it looked like.
Yes.
And you could never get forward. Yeah.
Yep.
But you need to reassess the situation, trying to find ways around things to address it better.
Right. And it's always easier for me if I'm working to help somebody else. I can fix it for somebody else. But when you're working for yourself.
Yep.
So anyway.
Anyone else like to chime in?
I'm all set.
I did all the reading. So what I'm going to do is stop recording. I want to ask before we even stop this call, is it cool with everybody that if I share this? Because I think that this is a really good call that we had tonight, and I could share it on Facebook so people could see more along the lines of what we do, and they might be asking questions about the hints and the things that we went over already.
Steve, is there any reason that he couldn't put this up on his site?
No reason I can think of.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, I always get consent before I make a move doing that. I always do this. It's always the same thing. So we didn't get into any personal items tonight where it was off track. So I think that would be okay. Heather, what do you think?
Well, I'm fine with that. I want to say to Tina, now that my mouth isn't full, I was eating a banana, a frozen banana with peanut butter, actually. Something healthy, protein, and my
That's
fruit.
good.
I had an apple with peanut butter just now.
What, Brittany?
I had an apple with peanut butter just now.
Oh,
Peanut
see?
butter buddies!
Well, my
I'm eating
banana's frozen, so it took a little bit longer to get it down. I don't know if I was hearing you right, Tina, but you remind me of what I do. Sometimes it can be the littlest thing, and maybe sometimes something that's not even really relevant. And in my head, I can make it to be you.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Well,
Or it can be something huge. And
Well-
then I obsess over it. And, to the point that, that I could obsess over it and then obsess over it and then not have stop, just like that. And then not have an appropriate, well, she nudged me on my knee while I was talking. Then I may not have an appropriate response. And I'll just dwell on it. Bam, 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 and beat myself up over it until I stop. And the unfortunate thing is I beat up others around me over it by obsessing on it.
And then there's always consequences that follow that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Is that what I was hearing, though, when you said that you have times and you just can't, get on top of it?
It's not.
I think sometimes with our brain.
It's not so much, trying to use the example without giving away all the details, but so it's like my job is to teach, right? That's one of the things I do. I'm a teacher. But when you're trying to get through to your student a concept and you can't make the inroads with that concept, and you're not sure why, and you keep trying to teach that concept, but now you're dealing with attitude and other issues that come into play, but you don't know what you're doing wrong, that you can't move beyond that. It boils down to really, as I'm analyzing it right now, it's a two-part player. I'm a part of it and the student's a part of it.
Yeah.
But when I can't figure out how to move beyond that, I'll use a different situation because there's another situation going on. And it's when they start to do this all the time, when this is happening multiple places, I want to help someone and they won't take my call, or they won't listen to what I'm trying to get through to them so that they'll pick up the phone. And I can easily walk away going, I can only do so much, but then feel like, but I'm here and I can help and I know what they're going through, which can then lead to, why can't I get them to pick up the phone? Why can't I get them to connect with me?
You know what's a common trait here?
What?
Is you are in control of how you're going to react to what's going on around you.
Yep.
That's the bottom line. How things have an impact on you is in your mind. You decide. You let it hold you back, or you can become passive.
But your value, this will go back to another conversation we had earlier today. If you find your value in how you can help others, and you can't seem to do that, it's hard to deal with the reaction, hard to navigate that reaction process.
You can't help somebody who doesn't want to help themselves, and
Right.
that's so frustrating.
So
Yeah,
then how do you help yourself as you're dealing with that, navigating it? Because that's the very thing that had me,
frustrating.
why? I must be stupid. I must be an idiot. And, you know, that the truth is I'm not. The truth is, the way to reframe that would be, I really care very much about this situation and I would love to find a way to move it forward, but I can't move it on my own.
You can't control
Our
it.
process. So I will do what I can do, and that is give myself grace to simply say, I tried and I won't give up, but I need to take a break from this for a while because it's very frustrating and it can easily lead me down a road that would be very negative, and I don't want to go there.
Right. Control the
How
situation.
about,
Control the
how
situation.
about, sorry,
It's okay. Go ahead.
how about when I find, well, I'm not a teacher, but I have spoken in front of classes. So, when I think someone's not getting it, you know, you don't really know what's going inside that person's mind. Maybe they're just putting up a fuss. They really are getting it. Because you could come back the next day and say, does everybody remember what we were talking about? You might be surprised. And if they don't get it, you just keep chipping away at it.
Point. Thank you.
Can't hear you.
No, I was asking her to move her legs.
No, Tina was trying to talk and she was muted. She caught herself.
I hear what you're
Oh,
saying. And,
so
and
I
I,
was talking for nothing.
No. Tina heard you. Go ahead, Tina.
yeah, I heard what you said, Susan, and I would agree that you're correct. I should just wait a day or two and realize that in a day or two, it will all be fine. But in that moment, I can't think that through.
Yeah.
It's just I'm stuck and it's never going to get better. And I love what you're saying. Really, it's a case of, you know, waiting and knowing to wait. But I think for me, it's like I'm probably so young in this journey, like a child learning patience.
You're tormenting yourself.
Right. And I still have a lot of patience to learn, which,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's one of the things that goes out the window when you have a brain injury is
Well,
patience.
that's something that Tina, you and I will work on, and that's impulse. And that's a
Hey,
tough one.
Tina,
A
I
7-second rule. But
I
impulse control.
need to, oh, sorry. I didn't realize you were still talking because I'm getting a lag on this end. I apologize.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Tina, don't feel bad because you know what I hear? Because I'm notorious for doing the exact same thing, even though it's been 31 years. Something about once you get a brain injury, you need to get it out. Bam. You've got whatever's on your mind and the way you're feeling. You need to get it out. You need to deal with it. And whoever you're dealing with needs to be able to deal with it with you. And they just don't get it. They want us to sit back and say, okay, we can wait a day or two, but because our brains are saying, don't touch me, Nevaeh, while I'm talking, and distracting me. See, even that little her grabbing my arm was a distraction. Seriously, so, but no, that's what I'm hearing. It's like, you know, you've got it there and you want someone else to be able to understand and do and be on the same page as you are.
Yeah.
Right down.
Yep.
Right down. I got to get it out. Do it now. We don't need to do it tomorrow, the next day. Do it now.
Yeah.
Here it is on the table.
Yep.
Right now.
We've all gone through
You
that.
know?
But I hear Susan
Yeah.
saying, I need to develop that patience.
Wow.
And am I hearing you say, Heather, you've developed that patience?
No, I'm saying no. It's been 31 years, and when I want to get something out, it's going to come out. And you're going to deal with me. And And if you don't deal with me, then people around me, my family, you know, they'll be like, Ma, stop it. It's like, no, we need to do this. And, you know, actually we don't need to do it right then. But my brain is still functioning on, yes, we do. And the more people push back and say, no, we don't, it's not necessarily me. It's just the way my brain is making me react to you and push more like, yes, we do. Yes. Don't you hear me right now?
Heather, you were such a fighter. I totally see it. It's just your personality.
Well, but I could hear it with what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that with our head injuries, when it's right here, when everything is right in our brains where it's supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
we want to get it out and get it done then before we forget about it or it becomes not important anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's a memory thing too. That happens a lot. Is like you get you guys looking at Brittany? She's got a hair clip she's playing with on her nose. She was doing it before and nobody picked up on it. And I messaged her about it. I was laughing.
I can see what it was. I don't know if that's what you were saying or not, Tina, but that's what it sounded like. I mean, I could I could feel the way you were describing. That was the feeling that I got. That's really hard. Now you're being like my granddaughter. Here, I'll put her on.
Look at the two of you guys. Oh my God. Now you guys are being recorded. This is wonderful.
Great.
So it shows that we're having fun. We still have fun on these calls. So. All right, I'll stop recording now.
It's a thing. I can't, like,